Oh, sorry, are we filming? Oh, just scrolling through my Instagram feed. From its peak here, guys, Facebook is down nearly 20%, finding support at a critical level. If you follow technicals at all, you'll notice the stock tested the 50 moving average and bounced up from this level, implying that there are buyers at this price point. But let's go beyond the technicals in this video. Let's get into some numbers, some fundamentals, some analysis, and try to figure out if Facebook is actually a stock right now that's undervalued and could be a pretty good buying opportunity. Hint, in my mind, I believe Facebook is an absolute steal today. Now, full disclosure, guys, I have been very public and vocal on my position on Facebook over the years. Long-term bull on the stock, it's done really well for me, and I think it's gonna keep doing well for me over the foreseeable future. I don't see any of that really changing. It's actually one of my largest positions in my portfolio because it's so stable, consistent growth, and it's up over 40% currently, and this is not including any of the sales that I've made over the years to realize some profits. So yeah, it's a great stock in terms of capital appreciation. So today we're going to be talking about Facebook stock, Facebook business, the businesses around the company, and why I, with a cost basis of 170s or so, still believe that Facebook is undervalued at today's prices. If you like the info here, all you have to do is hit that like button down below. Helps the channel out tremendously. Now, this channel is all about long-term investments, long-term mindset, and that is what we focus on here. We don't chase the quick money. We don't chase any of that hype. We try to stay level-headed and really grow our wealth over the long term. Facebook is a business I believe that can help us achieve that goal. Today, at a $700 billion plus market cap, the market clearly realizes that this is a great stock. It is a great business, but there's a few big reasons the stock is down right now despite their stellar fundamentals. Now, I will get into the risks of Facebook in this video, but first, let's start off with the good. Let's talk about their fundamentals. Year after year, Facebook continues to post phenomenal numbers, growing so fast that the company doesn't even know what to do with their money. They're highly profitable, pulling in $18.5 billion last year and around the same the year before, despite investing heavily in their workforce. Just last year, Facebook aimed to hire 10,000 workers and gave away money to small businesses as well, and their balance sheet is still holding up strong. I'm telling you, this company has so much money coming in, they don't know what to do with it. It's an absolute joke, but as shareholders, could this mean possible dividends in the future? Maybe. Just look at the assets here on the company's balance sheet. $55.6 billion in cash and short-term investments. And this can be used on whatever they want. New acquisitions? Sure. Improving parts of the business? Sure. R&D, sure. Raising employees' pays, sure. Facebook has capital to do it all. They have another $80 billion of non-current assets, all adding to a total of $146 billion in assets. What's remarkable is that the goodwill or intangibles are only around $20 billion or so. So even if we subtract this out, Facebook has assets worth $126 billion. Now, typically when you see companies that have assets in the hundreds of billions, it typically means their liabilities are not too far behind. They typically raise a lot of debt. They typically have a lot of obligations, outstanding pays that they need to do. So let's take a look at what Facebook has here. Well, they're the exception. Their total liabilities sit at under $29 billion. They have $0 in debt, and not many companies can really show off a balance sheet this good with no debt. So I mean, guys, financially, this company is literally fail-proof. They have so much cash that they literally cannot go bankrupt. They have minimal obligations, no debt. Things just keep getting better and better for the company as time goes on. And this is not slowing down anytime soon. This fiscal year, the company should surpass $100 billion in revenue, which is a new milestone. And this is because of their 24% growth expected. To see growth above 20% classifies this in my books as a high growth company. So let's see here. Facebook is a company with a phenomenal balance sheet, probably one of the best balance sheets in the entire world. They're a company that's growing over 20% year over year, yet the stock is down. There must be something wrong, right? Maybe it's the price of sales is off. Maybe the price to earnings is off. Let's take a look at those metrics. Well, price to sales for Facebook is sitting at under a 10. For a company this stable yet growing at 20% year over year with huge profits, it should, in my opinion, command a higher price to sales, so this looks undervalued to me as well. PE, not much of a different story here. It's expected to be around, 25, 26 or so over the next year or two. And I gotta ask the question, how is this even possible? The S&P 500 has a PE right now of almost 38, and Facebook is under that by a huge margin here despite its metrics. So I think this is a good point now to maybe transition over to some risks, because clearly the metrics show us buy. This is a strong buy. So there must be something more beyond just the facts, the financials behind the business. So let's dig into that. Now, the risks around Facebook go much beyond this company going bankrupt. Like we said, unlikely to happen, probably never going to happen, just because of the way that the company is set up with the amount of money that they have. The real risks come down to two things. The first being user growth. Quarter after quarter, this company posts growth in users, and 2020 was a year that accelerated this again because everyone is at home. But here's where the risk comes in. Investors are expecting a slowdown here and possibly even a decline in their growth, and this could come as a shock to the market. However, this is the way I see it. It's kind of the law of large numbers. These guys are pushing nearly 3 billion users on their platforms. How much more do you expect them to grow? Do you expect them to add another billion users in the next year? That's just not going to happen. So clearly at some point it's going to start plateauing as they reach everyone in the world that they can reach. And then we may even see some declines as people stop using the service as much, because there's ups and downs, different seasons. People start traveling once again once things open back up. They're not going to be on Facebook as much. And that's just how it works. I think that's completely normal, and who knows, maybe the market has a massive overreaction to this when this does happen, because I believe it will sometime soon. And perhaps some investors are realizing this now and have started selling out. Now, I've heard many arguments saying Facebook platform is dead. I fundamentally disagree with that. Maybe for the younger generation, Facebook isn't as relevant, but guess what? They use Instagram. They use Instagram for all their messaging needs, talking to their friends, all that stuff. Guess who owns Instagram? It's Facebook. The older generations, Messenger, WhatsApp, Facebook products. The core Facebook product is also still used, in my opinion, for things like groups. You're probably not going to find groups anywhere else in the world on any other platform for literally anything that you want. You want to talk about a Tesla that you just bought with like-minded people in your state, in your city, whatever, you're going to find a Facebook group for that. You want to talk about cooking, you want to talk about real estate, you want to talk about stocks. We have a Facebook stock group that I literally do not promote at all, but it just keeps growing over time because it's just something that people use. Events, easiest tool in my opinion to schedule events with and keep track of things. Birthdays, all that kind of stuff. Facebook, the platform, in my opinion, is still just as relevant. Oh, I didn't even talk about Marketplace. That is another core product that they have going for them. People use that more than things like Kijiji here in Canada or Craigslist. And that's just going to keep growing over time as people just want to buy and sell things locally. Guys, to say Facebook, the platform, is dead is foolish. There's absolutely nothing backing that up. Sure, there are some people that are deactivating their accounts, which we'll get into in a second, but this company and their products are far from finished. Okay, so now I mentioned people deactivating their Facebook accounts, right? And this has happened a lot recently because of the recent issues Facebook has been caught in with government regulation, antitrust, censorship, all that kind of fun stuff. Because of the elections that just passed, Facebook has literally been in the spotlight. Now, I know Twitter has probably got hit even harder, which is why their stock is probably down a bit more than Facebook here. But Facebook has also got a lot of hate from this. A lot of people saying, I don't want to support a platform like this. I don't want to support a company like this. Stealing our data, sharing our data, censoring us, and all this other stuff. And you know what? To each their own. We're not here to discuss politics on the channel. We're here to discuss an investment. And looking at Facebook, these issues have been plaguing the company for many years, and recently it's gotten worse, I agree. However, we look back just a few years ago at Cambridge Analytica when that huge scandal came out. That, in my opinion, was the true test for Facebook. Depending on how they handled that, that could have made or broken the company at that point. And I think they did phenomenal with that. They doubled down, added more staff, added security, made sure that they are a secure platform for your data. And that's that. The stock has recovered nicely since then. It was a great buying opportunity back then. And now once again, we're seeing this sort of dip around similar issues once again, data, privacy, antitrust, all these politics that are pretty much surrounding the stock. And while there is risk around, governments possibly regulating the company, splitting up the company, and all these other things, I don't think that's really going to happen anytime soon. As we go through 2021, the main focus in the world is the issue that we've been facing for the last year. There is a lot more pressing issues right now than worrying about splitting up Facebook. That's just my opinion, and that's probably what's gonna be on government's opinion as the new party comes in and they look to change things that the old party did and all of that stuff. So I think that as we sort of forget about the election that just happened in a couple of weeks, couple of months, Facebook is going to start recovering once again. In fact, the stock is already starting to recover as people realize this was a massive buying opportunity. Usually when news events are in the spotlight and a company is, portrayed in a negative light, their stock can really get hurt. Even though they're a multi-$100 billion company, they can sell off quite drastically, and that's what happened to Facebook. Some investors saw this. Some investors said, I'm buying. They've bought a lot, and I think over the long term, they will do quite well. In fact, if I look at what analysts have to say, if I sort by the best analysts here, they see 30% upside in Facebook with nearly a $330 per share price target. And what's more amazing, in my opinion, is that out of these 33 analysts, 31 of them say buy, 2 say hold, and none say sell. That's because the numbers are just so clear. Facebook is a profitable company, massively profitable company, huge growth, impeccable balance sheet. You cannot deny this company, no matter what way you slice it, if you're valuing it for what the business actually does. Now, like I said, ethics, morals, completely understand that this is not a business for you. Just wanted to put this out there because I've got a ton of requests to cover this stock, and I hope you guys found some value in this video by me going through some of my thought process around Facebook, why I hold the stock, and kind of why I think this is a great buying opportunity. The way I see Facebook's future is like this. If user growth starts slowing down, which I think will happen sometime within probably the next year or two, as we return back to normalcy and people aren't on the platform as much, all they have to do is raise their ad rates by a little bit, charge advertisers just a bit more, and boom, they're gonna explode with growth, profits, everything all over again. Then they can start monetizing their other platforms. WhatsApp is not even monetized. Instagram is just starting monetization. They have Marketplace on Facebook, which is huge, that they don't really monetize on, which they could. They could kind of build a whole ecosystem there where they do transactions themselves, take a cut of that transaction. Another huge money maker. Facebook has a lot of different ways to make money, so don't worry about that if that's a concern here. I think that this company will be just fine and do investors just fine over the long term. I think that if you're not investing in Facebook today because of the regulation risks and all these other things that are surrounding the company, externally from the government particularly, I don't know what to say. It's impossible to predict those things. It's impossible to predict if and when Facebook gets split up. It's impossible to predict if and when Facebook gets sort of regulated. So I wouldn't really base my investment thesis on that. If things get a lot more heated up and Facebook actually does get regulated, okay, then the story changes. But until then, it's just all rumors, and these dips are just buying opportunities. They have been for many years, and I think they will be all throughout 2021 if we continue to see this. So guys, at today's prices, this blue chip giant is a no-brainer in my opinion. I think the stock is easily going to surpass $1 trillion market cap within the next few years. Their fundamentals tell me that they should already be there today. However, because of all these external things surrounding it, it's keeping the stock price down. And once we're past this, once it's forgotten, which I think we will sometime soon, probably in the next couple of months, the stock will most likely start recovering, hitting that new all-time high, and making a lot of money for investors that bought in during this time period. Anyways guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on Facebook. I'd love to hear from you as always. But either way, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to invest positively, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.